to the dungeons of Thunderstone Advance.
I don't understand how Balak could have gathered those forces so quickly.
Those barracks weren't even here last week.
All this material must have been teleported in somehow. Check with wizards and see if they notice any ripples or whatever they call it.
Those damn Korvaxes finally chose a side.
Yeah, the wrong side. One of them stole my favorite hat yesterday. Probably using it for one of their sodden nests.
Report to Captain Mount. We need one more regiment to put this thing down. I hate to think that traitor Balak used to be one of ours.
Thunderstone Advance is a deck building game by AEG with the fantasy dungeon crawl theme. A deck building game is a type of card game where players are acquiring or buying their cards within the game, creating their own personal deck. In Thunderstone Advance, the object is to bring a group of adventurers together to recover a Thunderstone, an ancient relic of evil power which has fallen into the wrong hands. You arm your heroes with weapons, spells, and level them up with the experience points you earn by taking out some monsters. But first you need to build the dungeon and the village. There are several pre-made scenarios you can set up, but you can also randomly generate a scenario. But for some reason we felt compelled to go with the Tower of Compulsion scenario. In the Tower of Compulsion scenario, you're trying to get through Balak's hordes, and get to Balak to get the Thunderstone out of his hands. To face off against these fierce opponents, you have some heroes at your command. In the nearby village, you find all the supplies and help you'll need. There's several different icons to be found on the cards. There's the cost to buy the cards, a light source icon. On the character and weapon cards, there's the strength icon. The coins on the card are the currency you use to buy other cards in the village. And then there's the experience icons. You use experience to level up your characters. And finally there's the all-important victory points. You'll find these on creatures and from leveling up to level 3 and some other items. When you get your 6 cards on your turn, you decide if you're heading into the village to level up, to buy supplies or get new recruits, or if you want to head off to the dark, damp dungeons. When you head into the village after revealing all your 6 cards, you can use their gold value to purchase another card from the village stores. When buying weapons, you should be aware if the character cards have the strength to wield them. Also be sure not to overlook spells, characters, or weapons that might produce light. In the town square, you can find other recruits to help you on your quest. And after you acquired your newfound purchases, they all go to your discard pile. And finally, if you have any experience tokens from a previous turn, you can level up. But if you head off into the dungeon, you have to be aware of the darkness penalties. The dungeon halls get progressively darker, and you want to be sure you have enough light to avoid having your attack strength reduced. Item and spell cards when going into dungeon take their effect, but the weapon cards have to be equipped on a character card that has enough strength to do so. If your total attack strength meets or beats a creature in the dungeon, you defeat it, and it goes into your discard pile, and you gain the experience shown on the card. And any victory points on the card to be tallied at the end of the game. But before you attack, you should be aware of several effects on the cards. Aftermath is something that takes effect regardless of which side that won the combat. Battle is an effect that takes place after choosing a monster, but before the fight is resolved. Global is an effect that affects all players, and Ready happens when it's first revealed. One strategy to consider in the dungeon is having cards in your deck that can give you other cards while you are in the dungeon. Mass Teleport card, the Moonstone card, or the combo of a regular and a long spear, for example, can give you extra cards. So with little luck of the draw, may turn the tides and put you ahead earlier in the game. Before the game begins, someone should read all the different abilities on the different levels of the characters. Some other cards in the games are the curse cards and the familiar cards. Once you go through all the minions in the dungeons, you'll eventually find the big bad guy. And once he's defeated, you recover the Thunderstone and the game is over. You determine who won, everybody counts up their victory points on their cards. The one with the most is, of course, the winner. There are a few optional rules to make considered in the back of the manual. The dungeon setup, for example, might be a good one to use the first time you play. It arranges the monster deck so basically the lower level monsters come out first. Thunderstone Advance is a deck building game that will appeal to fans of the fantasy genre and collectible card games and other deck building games. Now that we've been watching the Gamers Grind show, be sure to like us on Facebook, visit our website, and of course come on down and play some games off the wall.